Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're going to keep the thing brief. We got a few things on the agenda. But of course, it wouldn't be morning coffee if we didn't start with the Diddy trials. So let's talk about the Diddy trials. So yesterday, Diddy almost got kicked out the courtroom. Diddy almost got put out of his own trial. And what's crazy is it goes against people's constitutional right to not be privy to a fair trial that they can sit in and watch. And so it was that bad that the judge almost put him out of his own trial. So the reason that this happened, let's go backwards to go forward. So if y'all remember, there was a witness on the stand saying her name was Brianna Bungalow. So she's a stylist and a friend of Cassie Ventura's, a really good friend. She testified a whole bunch of stuff that they did drugs together. She used to buy drugs, certain things like that for Diddy. So now, just so we're clear, so now she's getting cross-examined by the defense team yesterday. So when the defense team cross-examined her, they were doing their job, which is to poke holes in their story. So they poked holes in her story and essentially said that by saying that the date that she gave was the wrong date. So when the defense team started to poke holes in the story, essentially Diddy started to look at the jury and nod vigorously at the jury. Now, the judge did not like that. And the judge didn't like it because he said that it could be intimidation or trying to persuade the jury or in any way manipulate their thoughts. And it sounds like the way Diddy was nodding was that he was nodding like, y'all see? The story ain't straight, y'all see? And so the judge said, it's raps for that. Like, back that up. Called his lead defense attorney to the stand and said, if your client doesn't stop doing that, I've already told y'all, then he's not going to be able to stay in the trial for the rest of the trial. Now, the reason that I think that's important and the reason that it's interesting to me that he would nod at the jury like that is because, as I told y'all before, the jury is not sequestered. So that means that they go home every day. And I thought that that was a weird mistake for them to make because even in the OJ trial, I believe the jury was sequestered. But essentially, they go home every day. They don't have to stay in a hotel room. So they're free after the trial. And the way Diddy has already been accused of tampering with witnesses or trying to get witnesses to turn, why would they be allowed to go home knowing that that has been a part of what they're alleging in his case? So I think it's interesting that he's nodding vigorously and that the jury, you can see the jury in the courtroom. His family has been in the courtroom, somebody from his family at least every day. So they know who these jurors are. And the way Diddy's been able to access people, it feels real reasonable to me that he would be able to access them and turn the jury. So after he nodded vigorously, the judge said he needs to stop. The jury was not in the room for that part. But then following that, the prosecution, when they got their chance to interview the witness again, they brought up the fact that they had a text message from Diddy's chief of staff that was sent to her by Cassie that described all of the same incident that the person on the stand, Brianna Bungalow, testified. So essentially, like, the jury knows that it's true, but it seemed like Diddy was trying to, in some way, get the jury to agree with him. So judge said that that needed to stop. Following that, a new witness, her name is Jane, took the stand. This new witness is a former girlfriend of Diddy's. Now remember, they're calling her Jane because all of the victims, sorry, she's not a witness, the victims, all of the victims were promised to remain anonymous during the court hearings. And so somehow, allegedly, her identity got released on Twitter. So people started to share her identity. Apparently, she's a content creator. Her identity was disclosed on Twitter, allegedly, and people are saying that that's not right because she's supposed to remain anonymous. But I just think that the reality of it is no matter how much a judge or court or anyone tells you you're going to remain anonymous, very unlikely that that's going to happen, especially with a high-profile case like this. So it's just like, whatever. So her identity was released. It's not supposed to be. Now, the interesting part about her testimony so far from yesterday was that she said that Diddy and her used to call each other Bert and Ernie. You heard me correctly, Bert and Ernie. She was Bert and he was Ernie, right? In addition to that, she said that the first time that she participated in this freak off dynamic was one night when her and Diddy were in a hotel when they first started dating, and they were talking about each other's fantasies, and he brought up or introduced the idea of bringing another man into the bedroom. She said that she was like considering it and was like, oh yeah, maybe we could try that. And then she got up and went to the bathroom. And when she returned from the bathroom, he was on the phone setting up said freak off. Okay. She said she got up to go to the bathroom. They talked about the possibility of it. She came back from the bathroom and he was setting up the freak off already. Now, if that's not insane, I don't know what is. So essentially, she said she did participate in freak offs willingly. Now, other information, we'll get to how it ended, but other information that is important is that she essentially said that she was thinking about starting an OF. And she said in her wanting to start an OF, she brought the idea up to Diddy because she knew people who made millions of dollars a year on OF. And she said that when she told Diddy this, Diddy said no. He didn't want that to happen. And so she was basically saying like, well, I can't, you want all my time and I make content. And so if I'm not making money, what's up? He agreed to pay her an allowance. OF is OnlyFans. So then he decided to pay her an allowance. So when he decided to pay her an allowance, what she alleges started off as like $10,000 a month, that they made it work. Now, she wasn't saying that he was paying her for her services, but she said he was giving her an allowance to live because she couldn't do her job because he wanted all of her time. Now, what that bled into was the fact that he wanted to continue to participate in freak offs. She said that she no longer wanted to participate in said freak offs. She said that she at some point decided she didn't want to stop. She wanted to stop because she was in love with Diddy, but Diddy didn't want to stop. And she said it was alleged that at one point she claimed that she was crying and because she didn't want to do it anymore after a freak off, and he told her to stop crying. Like, what are you doing that for? Cut it out, essentially. So then she says that there's written evidence and I guess they had verbal conversations about her not wanting to participate in the freak offs anymore. And he continued, I guess, to force her to, but she said that at that point, he said, well, if you don't participate in the freak offs no more, I'm not paying your rent. Allegedly. She said that if she stopped, he was going to stop supporting her. Now, remember, she essentially stopped doing everything she was doing and didn't create an OnlyFans because he told her not to. He said he was going to pay her for the time that she wasted. She obviously didn't know that that was a setup. And then when she fell in love with him and wanted to stop, he was like, that's not going to work or else I'm going to stop paying you. So this is the new victim who is going by the name Jane on the stand, but apparently her identity has been released on Twitter. So y'all can go look up what her identity is. I'm not going to say it on here because I don't want to be. So that was the latest on the Diddy trial, and that she essentially wanted to stop was essentially all they got to. Now she's taking a stand again today, so I'm interested to hear what else will come of it. And I think the prosecution team is going to continue to try to like close the loop on this, but it sounds like it's going to the trafficking charges. And so we'll see what happens with that. But it sounds to me like it got real crazy and it's about to get even more crazy with whatever she shares on the stand. So that's the Diddy trial for now. Case almost closed. Also, people keep saying it seems like the defense team is getting crushed. I also want to remind us that though we're like 4 weeks into the trial, the defense team is also going to call witnesses to the stand. So I'm interested to see who their witnesses are, because it's likely that the witnesses are going to try to poke holes in the victim's stories. So I'm hopeful that it doesn't cause too much chaos and they can still stand on their 2 feet with this case. Now, let's get into DDG, because I already knew that the DDG warriors were coming out guns a-blazing, ready to get into arguments about DDG and the motion that he put into place. So if y'all didn't know, DDG asked for an emergency motion on Wednesday for two things. There was two emergency motions that he asked to be granted. One was an emergency motion to grant him a restraining order against Halle, and he provided evidence of text messages saying that she wanted to hurt herself, essentially saying that she was unsafe, unfit, mentally not stable, and that she had harmed him. Now, DVD also put in a motion to have sole custody of their child, Halo, right? It was two things that he put in emergency motions for. Now, the emergency motion for the temporary restraining order was approved by the judge. That is true. The temporary restraining order was absolutely approved by the judge. And to me, great. I personally am not speaking to whether or not either of them incited or in any way enacted violence towards each other, because I don't know the answer to that, and I'm not swearing for nobody. I do think DVD, anyway, due to garbage, whatever. So I'm not about to say whether or not it was mutual or whatever the facts of the case are. What I am saying, though, is that she already filed the restraining order. So filing a temporary restraining order against someone who you can't be around, but I think that he did that because he's trying to prove a point. So when they do have the custody battle, that he can say, oh, I got a restraining order against her. His lawyers are advising him. He's obviously not this smart. Now, I again am not swearing for what happened. What I do know is, though, that there's two, and I said this on a recent live and in my videos, y'all don't understand the family court. So what y'all speak to is what y'all understand in a headline, and y'all don't read. So the statement by his lawyer, his legal team released this statement. The court granted Mr. Granberry a temporary restraining order based on the serious allegations set forth in his application. The statement reads, the issuance of this order reflects the court's finding that there is sufficient cause to provide immediate legal protection while the matter proceeds. That is the temporary restraining order that he got against Halle. Okay. The sole custody, the emergency thing he filed for the sole custody, it says, at this time, custody-related issues remain pending. Do you know what happens when custody issues remain pending? That means that whoever currently has custody, and I know y'all don't know because y'all don't even like y'all kids. Y'all don't even like y'all kids. That means that the person who currently has custody remains the custodial parent because it's pending and will be subject to a full evidentiary hearing, okay? When both parties will have the opportunity to present their claims and defenses. These are highly sensitive matters involving a minor child, and Mr. Granberry remains committed to resolving them through appropriate legal channels, not the court of public opinion. So what that means is that she's still going to take him to Italy, okay? Passport stamped. He's going. You know what I'm saying? Halo. Y'all busy screaming free Halo. Halo is free. He's traveling the world, and y'all kids is at home because y'all ain't go to court. The other thing is, and I'll continue to say this, he had weeks to file an emergency motion. The reality of it is that he probably would have gotten approved to keep for the child not to go to Italy if he had done this weeks ago and brought up the evidence that he has weeks ago. The same way that she did it. Okay, and again, I want to say this so that y'all can hear, because I know y'all don't like to hear. I said in my video months ago, before she even went to court, when he was screaming free Halo, I said he needs to go to court and stop talking to us. He said he did not want to take his child into a court of law. So you didn't want to fight for your child. She then took the child. She went to the court of law, filed the petition like any real adult would do. And when she filed the petition, she got the approval. He's going to Italy to live his best life. And while the DVD LMNOP warriors want to fight me, I'm not the judge. I'm just the messenger. Y'all want to smoke with me? I'm just the messenger. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, if y'all fought this hard for y'all own kids, the way y'all fight for LMNOP, and and the baby he don't even fight this hard for, if y'all fought this hard for y'all own kids, they would leave the country too. Y'all mad at me? My kid been on 3 trips this year already. 2 of them out the country and 1 of them out the state. Passport stamp, baby. My kid been out the country. I'm just reporting it. LMNOP and his baby, just because his baby mama can take him out this baby out the country, don't mean y'all need to be mad at me. Me and my kid, we've been on trips. You know what I'm saying? Last year we've been on trips. This year we went on, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, I'm not the villain here. Y'all want smoke with the wrong people, but I assure you that if y'all put the same energy into taking care of y'all kids, maybe you too could get your child's passport stamp for a little to no money, okay? You could maybe, because I know y'all ain't got no credits and no savings, you could probably put it on Afterpay. I don't know, but maybe fight for your own kids as hard as y'all fighting for LMNOP and his kids. Because me and my kid, we straight. Y'all mad at me. I'm just reporting what's in the news. I'm not the judge. I didn't tell Halle she could go with the kid. Y'all want to be with the wrong person. Anyway, so that's that on that. He's going to Italy. Y'all staying home. Y'all ain't never left the country. Y'all kids ain't going nowhere. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, thank you. And next topic. So let's get on the topic of, I'll get back to DDG, LMNOP. Trump and Elon Musk. I believe that this is all a scam. I personally don't believe that they really fighting. Now, people said otherwise, and I see that his net worth has went down to $30 million since they started beefing. But I think that they knew that that was going to happen because he has to get Tesla sales up. They're trying to push him out of Tesla. So the only way that he can sustain his role at Tesla is to get this fake fight going with Trump. He's talking about the Jeffrey Epstien files. We already knew that Donald Trump was on the Jeffrey Epstein parties. We already knew type timing he was on. I'm sure he was at the Diddy parties too. He told us there was audio leaked of him saying he wants to grab women by the genitalia. You know what I'm saying? And they still voted for him. So telling us that he was at Jeffrey Epstein parties is not really doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's not doing it for me. Now, again, if he deports him, I'll be, then we could really talk. But I do think that the sales have to go down before they go up for Tesla. But Elon Musk has to find a way to completely remove himself from Donald Trump and this administration in order to get sales back up. So that's it. That's all. That's what I think. Thank y'all for coming to my TED Talk.